Hello, my name is Brian Heron, W8BYH, or Whiskey 8 Bravo Yankee Hotel, and I'm the author of the Amateur Radio Repeaters in Georgia web map. And in this video, I'm going to give you a quick overview on the data that's available in the map and the functionality that we've embedded in it. One of the first questions is always, how do I find this map? It's very simple. If you go to the Georgia ARES homepage, look on the left side of the window, and under Georgia Maps, you'll see the link Georgia Amateur Radio Repeaters. Just click that link and the web map will open. The other thing that I encourage you to do is, once you have the web map open, is to go ahead and capture and bookmark the URL so you always have it available on your desktop. So when the map opens, by default, you'll see this splash page in red, and it just gives you some information on the data layers in the map. You can click the Do Not Show This Splash Screen Again box, and it'll never appear again. But I'm just going to click OK here and move on to the map. When the map opens, by default, you'll see three data layers that are turned on. One is the Georgia counties layer, and the other one is the FM analog 2 meter and 70 centimeter repeater coverage for Georgia and outlying parts of the surrounding states. You also see a layer list window that is open by default. You can dismiss this by clicking the dismiss box here, but we'll keep it open for the presentation so we can show you just what information is available. But before we get to the layer list, let's cover a few other items of interest. First thing is, at the top of the page you see the title bar, Amateur Radio Repeaters in Georgia. Right next to it is the search window, and this is one of the tools that you can use to search for information inside this web map. These are pre-configured searches and allow you to look for DMR repeaters, System Fusion repeaters, analog repeaters, D-Star repeaters, Georgia counties, and you can also search for street addresses. So if you're trying to find just an address on the ground anywhere in the United States, really, you can use this street address search tool. There's also a links button that takes you to available links outside the web map. One of those is to Georgia ARES. The other one is to the Georgia Skywarn repeater page. One is for QR code. One is a link to information about ArcGIS Online, and ArcGIS Online is the system that's used to build and host this web map. And there's also a link to this how-to video. So in the future, if you want to refresh yourself on how to access a certain layer or use a certain feature, you can just click here and the video will run for you in YouTube. Now I'm going to go back up here to QR code real quick and show you this. If you click here, a PDF with a QR code opens in it. So this is the QR code for this web map. One of the important things to keep in mind is that this web map just doesn't run on a desktop or a laptop computer. It also is designed to run very well in mobile devices like tablets or smartphones. It can be either an Apple, iPad, iPhone, or an Android device. And to open the map and launch it, all you need to do is just click this QR code, if you have a QR code reader application in your mobile device, and the map will open up. Another useful thing that you can do is, if you're actively serving during an emergency response, or you have an actual exercise and people ask, how do I get to this map? How do I get to this map? The easiest thing to do is simply to print this out and tape it up around your workstation. and say, hey, listen, if you want to get to the map, just scan this QR code. Um, Very easily done, works like a charm. Okay, so that's it for the title bar, the search window, and the links. So let's go back to the data layers in the map. As I said earlier, by default, FM 2 meter and 70 centimeters are turned on. You can just click the checkbox to turn these layers on and off, or any layer on and off in the web map. So let's say we've got some D-Star repeater information in here, and I want to see the D-Star 70 centimeter coverage. Click there. And because this information was pulled from a number of online sources, it extends outside the boundaries of the state of Georgia. Um, but you can just zoom in using your mouse. I'm using the scroll wheel on the mouse to zoom in and pan around to get to the area that you're interested in. So we're going to go down here and we're going to take a look at Fayette County, which is my home county. We're going to take a look at the KK4GQ 70 centimeter D-Star repeater. And I'm going to introduce one of the key features that's in the map, and that is the concept of a pop-up. Most of the information in this map has data pop-ups associated with it. So if you click on the feature, an information window will pop up and it will show you the data that's available on that feature that's in the database that runs behind this map. So in this case, I click there and you see it says 1 of 2 at the top of the window, which means when I clicked the map said, there's 2 features where you clicked the map that I can present information for. So the first one is the repeater itself, and it shows you everything that you would need to program your radio for using our D-Star repeater, the KK4GQ repeater. But I also have this little arrow here that points to the right, and it says, hey, there's another feature that I can present information on in a pop-up window, and that's the information that we have for the county itself. Now there's pop-ups for all of the counties here in Georgia, and we included that information because we track Aries District, GEMA District, Regional Coordinating Hospital, and Medical Region for each of the counties. And I can just click the X here to dismiss the window. So that pop-up behavior extends across most of the data layers that are in the map. All right, so if I want to check the particulars for the KK4GQ analog repeater that we have here in Fayette County, again, I click there and it says, oh, okay, here's all the information I need to program my radio. And again, the information about Fayette County. All right, so let's turn off everything but 2 meter FM repeaters. We also have information about System Fusion repeaters and DMR repeaters. We also show the repeaters that are part of the Georgia Skywarn system. I'll turn those on. Okay, and zoom out. And I'll tell you what, to declutter the map, let me turn off the 2 meter repeaters. So there we see those repeaters that are part of the Georgia Skywarn system. We also have the repeater laid down for the Southeastern Link repeater net, just for those that are in the state of Georgia. I know there are other repeaters that are outside the state of Georgia. For example, Saudi Daisy up in Tennessee. Have not added those yet, but that's on the list of things to do. Another interesting set of data layers that are in the map are what we call the working coverages. Now these are simple 15-mile coverage rings that are calculated around each of the repeater locations. for, so the 2-meter FM, 70 centimeter FM, and then the D-Star 2-meter and 70 centimeter. These range rings are simple 15-mile buffers. They do not take into account things like antenna gain, elevation, or terrain. They're just kind of in there to give a sense of how good or how weak the coverage is in certain areas of the state. Now, as you can see, in the in the Metro Atlanta area, we've got really dense coverage. But you come down here in places like southeast or southwest Georgia, Early County, Calhoun, Baker, and Miller counties, we got some coverage gaps down here. Same thing down here in the southeast, around Clinch County, Charlton County, and up here along Jeff Davis and Appling County. So I personally have not driven to these areas and tested repeater coverage. I'm just basing it off of what I see using these 15-mile coverage rings. Okay, let's turn those off. Other information available in the map includes the laydown of the Georgia Aries districts. And this is the new district laydown as of late 2017 and includes the new South Central District. We have GEMA districts, or Georgia Emergency Management Agency districts. The Georgia Medical Regions. And if you click the Georgia Medical Region, you'll get a pop-up that shows you the regional coordinating hospital for each of the regions. We also include things like Red Cross shelters. This is public domain information that was pulled from the web. But if you click any of the shelters, you'll get all of the information that the Red Cross currently has available for the shelter. So you get the shelter ID, what it is. This one is Southwest Lawrence Elementary School, the street address, and some specific information about shelter capacity. And if you zoom in, the shelter names will turn on. Okay, let's zoom back out. Turn off Red Cross shelters. We also found some information on pet-friendly shelters. This was pulled from the state of Georgia. So if somebody just happens to ask, hey, where's the nearest pet-friendly shelter? You've got that information. And for example, here we see there's a pet-friendly shelter at the Okefenokee Fairgrounds, and give you some information about the shelter itself. All right, last three items I want to talk about in the layer list are the U.S. National Grid laydown. Okay. So U.S. National Grid is the standardized emergency response grid in use by first response agencies across the United States. So this gives you the laydown, and it should be detailed enough to allow you to give National Grid locations to within 100 meters. Okay, zoom out. And you notice as you zoom out or zoom in, the National Grid laydown either gets more dense or less dense as you zoom in and out. We've also been able to include, let me turn off some of this repeater coverage here, also been able to include NOAA weather radar and watches, warnings, and advisories. So If you notice, weather radar, we've got just a little bit of activity in the southern part of the state when I made this video. And this Doppler radar data updates on a 5-minute cycle. And we also have watch and warning data. So let's come up here. There's nothing in Georgia right now, but I come up here into Tennessee. Click there. The pop-up will open up and show you, oh, there's a fog or a smoke warning for much of Tennessee. It gives you the issue date time group, the expiration date time group, any updates that might have been released on it, the forecast office that issued it, and just some other information about that watch or warning. Okay, let's turn that off. We'll turn Georgia counties back on, and we'll turn on 2-meter repeater coverage. And now we'll move on to some of the tools that are embedded in the map. So we just covered the data layers. Now we're going to talk about the tools. And the tools are available from this toolbar at the bottom center of the map. Well, like I said earlier, by default, when you open the map, the layer list is turned on. Now you can dismiss that. And watch what happens down here with this icon. You notice there's a little dot underneath it. If there's a little dot underneath it and that icon is bumped up a little bit, that means it's active in the map. So if I turn it off, you'll notice it shifts back down. So we'll start at the left and work our way to the right to quickly cover these tools. So the first one is a legend tool. Turn it on, and it shows you the legend information for those data layers that are currently turned on in the map. So right now we've got FM 2-meter repeaters and Georgia counties, but let's say I come in here and I turn on 70 centimeter D-Star repeaters. Okay, and I dismiss that. Go back up here, turn on the legend, and you notice 70 centimeter D-Star repeaters was added to the legend list. Okay, go back to the layer list. The base map gallery. This is one of the neater features of this web map technology. So let's turn on the base map gallery. Slide that out of the way. By default, this map uses a street map base map. The base maps are provided by ESRI. It's the company that produces and maintains the ArcGIS Online environment. They also make available a wide variety of base maps, and you can choose any one of these. And I think what's of particular importance is the imagery with labels. So let's do this. Let's zoom down. Let's see. Let's go to downtown Atlanta. Take a look at what we've got in the Atlanta area. Okay, you notice as I zoom in, the street map information builds in, as we say, or more and more information becomes available. But let's say we want to look at imagery and see how that actually looks on the ground. Okay, well, as you zoom in, the quality of the imagery generally gets better and better and better. There will come a point where it won't improve in clarity, but by and large, it's actually excellent coverage, and this is provided free of charge. It's just part of the service that ESRI makes available in the ArcGIS Online environment. And as you can see, our map data stays in the map and sits on top of the aerial imagery. But you can also pick any of these other base maps to try out and play around with, and pick the one that suits your mission the best. So we can pick the USGS national map information. Okay, you zoom in too far with the national map information and it will blank out. but it still allows you to get in fairly far. You can do terrain with labels, which provides something of a hillshade effect. Or if you really want to simplify the background, you can choose the light gray canvas. And this really is useful if you just want your data to pop. You're not too concerned about the background information. You just want the information in the map to pop out. And you can also go with a dark gray canvas for sort of a nighttime view. So again, this is great functionality, and you can make use of anything that you like in this base map gallery. But just know that by default, the map uses the street view, the street map view. Okay, we'll turn off the base map gallery. We'll go to the draw tools. So draw tools lets you put simple polygons and text on the map. It's not a very sophisticated drawing tool, but it gets the job done. So let's say, for example, we zoom back down on the KK4GQ repeaters in Fayette County, and I just want to highlight them. So draw a circle around them, and I'm going to make it a transparent circle. So you see what I'm doing here is setting the interior color opacity to 0, and the outline color I'm just going to make black. Okay, and the outline width is a 3. Okay, so I do that, and okay, there. I drew a circle around it, but the issue is I made it fully opaque so you can't see through it. So what you can do then is you can clear that and start all over again. So what I want to do is I want to slide this all the way over and make it transparent and do the same thing again. Yes, I just made a mistake there, but I think it's a useful mistake because it shows you how the tool works. Okay, so I drew a circle around those two repeaters, and now I want to put some text next to the circle. So I click the text tool, FCARC repeaters. Okay, and I'll just take the defaults. The font color will be black, the font size will be 20. What I do then is I come over here and I click on the map where I want that text to be placed. Okay, Fayette County Amateur Radio Club repeaters. You can't move the graphics or the text, so if you make a mistake, you essentially have to clear everything out and start all over again. Like I said, they're fairly simplistic tools, but they do get the job done. The other thing to keep in mind is that the graphics go away when you close out the web map. They're not permanent. So if you want to capture this information, about the only thing you can do is to print this out as a PDF, and I'll show you how to do that in just a few moments. Okay, so that's graphics on the map. Okay, so let's go to the next tool set, which is measurement tools. And this allows you to measure areas, distance, or get a location for a point on the ground. So let's say I want to know what the distance is between these two repeaters, the two KK4GQ repeaters. One is a D-Star repeater, and the other one is our FM 2-meter repeater. So I just click the distance tool here, and I want that measurement to be in miles. Okay, I just click the start point and click the end point, and it's 0.33 miles. This is straight line distance, does not take into account earth curvature or terrain or antenna height. It's just a straight line distance on the map. Okay. All right, I'm Sorry, double click there to close the measurement. So for areas, it works pretty much the same way. So let's go. I want well, let's do square miles. Okay. All right. All right. So that's 0.43 square miles. Fairly simple, but effective. It gets the job done for making simple measurements. Okay, and notice as I closed out that measurement tool, all the measurements were taken off the map. So now let's move on to printing. So what the print tool does is it takes your map view and generates it as a PDF, and then you can either send that PDF to a printer or you can save that PDF to your computer. And here's how it works. I click print. There's a default map title, but I'm going to go and change that and say I'm going to call KK4GQ repeaters. The map default is a landscape, 8.5 by 11, and the format is PDF, but you can change those. You have some options here to change some items, both in the layout and the format, but I'm just going to keep them as A3 landscape and PDF. I can come in here into advanced, and I'm going to check save map extent, and what that means, or preserve map extent, and what that means is what you see in the view right now is what's going to get put into the map. If I selected preserve scale, that might change the extent of the map somewhat. And if you want to know what the current scale of the map is, you can click here and see, it's right now the scale is 18,055. Let's say you've got somebody who said, hey, listen, I need a printout that is at 1 to 20,000 scale. You can force the scale here by coming in here and typing 20000 for 20,000, and that will force the map to print at that precise scale. But for this, I'm just going to go with map extent. Okay. Just come here, click print. And what's happening is your map gets sent to a print server that generates a PDF, and then it returns the link to the PDF back to you in this window, and it takes just a few moments. Oh, there we go. Okay, KK4GQ repeaters. It's a link. You can click there. All right, and you can see the information that was returned. And then using your PDF management tools on your computer, you can either download it and save it for future reference, or you can print it out as a hard copy. Okay, I'll close that out. We'll zoom out a little bit. Okay, the next item in the tool set is coordinate conversions. All right, so this is useful. Let's say somebody says, hey, I need the precise latitude and longitude for the KK4GQ repeater. Well, all you need to do is open the tool, click on the KK4GQ repeater, it drops a push pin, and you'll notice it tells you, okay, that push pin is at the input coordinates that you see in this window, and the UTM for that coordinate, Universal Transverse Mercator Grid location, is in this window. The U.S. National Grid location is in that window. The location in degrees, minutes, and seconds is in this window. Here's the location in degrees, decimal minutes. And here's the location in decimal degrees. What's good about this tool is it allows you to save any one of these coordinate values to the clipboard, so you can add it to a Word document or a spreadsheet or any other format that you need to use to get that information out. Okay, and again, when you close the window, the measurement tool takes the push pin off the map. The add data tool is sort of an advanced tool. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it, but what it does is it allows you to add information to the map. So say for example you're supporting um, a disaster relief event, and somebody comes to you and says, hey, listen, we've got a new shelter lay down, we'd like to have added to the map. You can say, okay, um, give it to me, here's the formats that I can accept. If I'm going to add it as a file, I can take a shape file, a CSV file, a KML file, which is keyhole markup language, GeoJSON, or GPX. A GPX is an output from a GPS receiver. And you can add that data directly to the map. This is sort of an advanced function. If you have any more questions on how to use it, you can either contact me, or there are some good sources on the web. Under the, go back up here, under the What is ArcGIS Online link, you should find some resources up there on how to add information to a web map. Okay. Uh, Share. Show. If you want to share this web map to social media, let's say, for example, somebody, you're working in an EOC and somebody says, hey, I need the link to that map, but they're located, at GEMA headquarters or someplace else. You can just click here, generate an email with the link embedded in it, and send it off to them. Or you can post it on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. The next item is a select item. This allows you to export information from the map. What you do is you select the information, and then using the tools, you can download it in a couple of different formats. I'll give you a quick idea of how that works here. So I'm going to select by rectangle, and I'm interested in getting the data for these two repeaters. So I'm just going to box out that area. Notice it highlighted those two repeaters. And it said I found one 2-meter FM repeater and one D-Star 70 centimeter repeater. I click these three little dots here, which means there's more information. And I can say export to CSV file or export to GeoJSON. And you can do a few other things here. You can cause that data to flash in the map. Okay. You can have it map zoom or center on it. You can have it show the pop-up. So there's a number of things that you can do from this interface, but it's really in here to give you the ability to export that data, especially to CSV file, to put into a spreadsheet. Okay. All right, so we'll dismiss that tool. I should say clear the selection. There we go. Okay. All right, the last item I'm going to talk about is the information window. So this is where you go for just a little bit more information about what's in the map, what features and data are available. So if you have any questions about the data or about the functionality, look here first. I'll keep this up to date. And if you need some more assistance or more information or would like some additional training, you can click here, contact me by email. Again, my email is w8byh, or whiskey 8 Bravo Yankee Hotel, at arrl.net. And I'll get back in touch with you, and we can pass along some more information about this web map and how it works, or we can talk about adding new features or providing additional support. Okay, so that's it. The last thing I want to say is that this web map is free. There is no charge to use it. It's open to the public. It's designed to support Georgia ARES and Georgia amateur radio operators. It's always going to be available. It's going to change over time as we bring new data in or we add new functionality. So the look and feel is going to change, but the link will always stay the same. And again, if you need extra information, if you need additional support, if you'd like to talk about configuring the map for your specific purposes, for your served agencies or your Aries district, just get a hold of me. We can talk through that. I think there's a lot that we can do to make this a more useful product for you. All right, so thanks for following along. I do appreciate it. Again, I hope you find this a useful product. And I'll say 73 for now. This is W8BYH. Clear.